Hey, I get it. When you're scrolling through a dozen electric fireplaces, it feels like you're picking a new roommate. You want something that looks cozy, actually keeps the room warm, and doesn't end up costing a fortune in electricity or maintenance. I was in that exact spot last month, trying to convince a friend to upgrade the blank wall behind his couch into something that actually feels like a focal point. The Real Flame Alcott 75-inch electric fireplace kept popping up, so I dug into the specs, watched a few unboxing videos, and even read the handful of reviews people left on Amazon. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What really made me pause was the promise of a full-size mantel, realistic logs, and a flame that you can change colors on. That sounds great in theory, but the question is whether it actually delivers on everyday life, especially when you're juggling heating bills, limited wall space, and the occasional "do we really need a fireplace in a bedroom" moment. First off, the biggest selling point is the size. At 75 inches, the Firebox stretches across most wall lengths you'll find in a living room or a larger bedroom. That gives it an almost built-in look, which means you don't have to hide a bulky unit behind a TV stand. The mantel that comes with it is made from hardwood veneered MDF. It's not solid wood, but it's painted and sealed well enough that you won't see the seams after a few weeks of use. For people who want that classic hearth feel without the masonry work, it's a solid middle ground. Heat output is another practical factor. The unit claims to cover up to 1,000 square feet, and the heating element is infrared, so it warms objects and people directly rather than just heating the air. In a real-world test in a 15 by 20 foot living room with moderate insulation, setting the Firebox to 78°F raised the ambient temperature by about 5 degrees after an hour. It's not going to replace a central furnace, but it does take the edge off when you're layering a blanket and watching a movie. If you live in a milder climate, you could also run it in flame-only mode, which means you get the visual ambience without the extra electricity draw. Now, let's talk about the remote control and timer. The remote is straightforward: up, down, flame color selector, and a couple of preset heat levels. The timer lets you program the unit to turn off after 2, 4, or 8 hours, which is handy if you want the heat to come on before you get home and then shut down while you're sleeping. I found the timer especially useful in a bedroom setting. Set it to start at 10 p.m., have the fire glow while you fall asleep, then shut off at 6 a.m. without ever needing to get out of bed. On the flip side, there are a few hidden trade-offs. The first is installation. Because the unit is that large, you need a sturdy wall and enough clearance behind the Firebox for proper ventilation, even though it's electric. The manual recommends a minimum of 3 inches of space behind the unit for airflow. If you're thinking of mounting it over a TV or in a hallway where the wall is thin, you'll need to reinforce the mounting brackets or consider a professional install, which adds to the overall cost. Also, the mantel, while visually appealing, is not designed to hold heavy decor. A couple of small framed photos are fine, but a large mirror or heavy vase could stress the MDF over time. Another practical consideration is the flame realism. The Alcott uses LED light strips behind a set of faux logs to simulate fire. The effect is quite convincing during the first few weeks, especially the color-changing option that can go from a warm amber to a cooler blue-white for a more modern vibe. However, after a month or two, the logs can start looking a bit plastic if you're staring at them for long periods. That's not a deal-breaker for most people. Most of us look at a fireplace more for ambience than scrutiny, but it's something to keep in mind if you're a flame enthusiast who expects that true crackling wood look. Who should buy this? If you're someone who wants a sizable visual centerpiece that also throws out decent supplemental heat, this is a strong contender. It works well in open-plan living rooms where a traditional fireplace would be impossible, in a master bedroom where you want a cozy glow without a full-size heater, or even in a rental where you can't add a real hearth. The remote, timer, and flame color options make it flexible for both daytime heating and evening ambience. It also fits nicely for people who appreciate the real flame aesthetic but don't want the hassle of wood, gas lines, or regular cleaning. Who should skip it? If you have a very small space, say a studio apartment with a wall under 4 feet wide, the 75-inch width will dominate the room and look out of proportion. Likewise, if your primary concern is